Hey up. I'm gonna make a bowl today. So which way around I want it. I've got a piece of tulip wood, and the person who had it before me just cut all these holes in. So I think that's gonna be my top. That'll be my bottom to get rid of them. I'm gonna have to reduce it down in size a bit to get rid of that deep cut in the top. I'm just finding my centre. I'm going to mount it on a worm screw. I just need a 8mm drill bit, an actual worm screw, and I'm going to use a spacer. Get this screwed onto this worm screw. That's tight. When I normally turn a bowl, I don't usually bother with truing this edge up. I usually just cut from here, cut outwards, and that sorts it out. But I want a third for a foot. It's going to have a definite foot, a nice curve to edge, and then I'm going to do a design on rim. So I'll get my face shield on, we'll get this trued up. I'm going to actually use my ball gouge today. So that slice goes in, I don't know, 5mm. So I'm going to take it off from this side. Then I know where I'm turning to. That's got rid of that, so if I just level this off, it should be golden. I didn't want to go off that edge then. So that's all true. Get a measurement. So that's 180mm. So I'm going to want a 60mm foot. So that'll be my foot. I'm going to want 40 for my tenon. Somewhere there. I'm going to go with my parting tool. That'll be my foot. Just need to get rid of this corner now and start shaping the bowl. Gonna get a flat scraper and just tidy that corner up. And I think that's sandable now. I'll start with 120 and go through grits. Still got a little bit of torn out grain in this corner, so that's got it. So that's it sanded up to 1000. I got a 400 grit with sandpaper and then a 600 and 1000 Scotch Brite pad. Right, so it'll be sanding sealer. And then turn it round. I'm using Hampshire Sheen pre-thinned sanding sealer. It's a cellulose. It reminds me of my dad. When I was a young lad, my dad had a spray shop for cars and commercials, and we used to have to go down and help him, obviously, for free, which kids now probably, well, they're doing an hour-long YouTube video about it, about how they're being slave laboured. But yeah, the smell of this cellulose stuff just reminds me of the thinners and that he used to use. But it's a little bit nostalgic every time I smell it, to be honest. So that sanding sealer's gone off. I'm just going to denib it with Scotch Brite pad, this 1000 grit one, and I'll get it turned over and flatten front off. I've just been to make my missus a dinner. She's got, well, she's already got arthritis in her spine, and she's got osteoarthritis in her hip, and she's got bursitis, so she's a bit immobile at the minute. So if you can send some healing vibes our way, that'd be much appreciated. She's an absolute trooper. So that's denib now. I'll finish this on my buffing wheel with pure carnauba wax. I just like it as a finish. There's no sanding marks in this. It's a really nice piece of wood, to be honest, and it turns nice. I think it's the first time I've turned this. A little mark in it here, just want to get that away and get it flat, or flat-ish. So that's as flat as I need it to be. I'm just going to sand this face quickly. I've just found 2 fine cracks here. I don't know if you can see them, but I'm going to have to take probably 2 mil off at the face of this. Just another little bit more. Right, so I've got rid of them cracks, returned it, sanded this outside. I've sloped it in slightly, so I changed my mind on keeping it flat, but it is only very slight. I want to get some measurements. So we've got 170 roughly. We'll call that 170 by 3. 3 5s is 15. 20 by 3 is 7. So if we say, fucking hell, I can't even think. So from edge to centre is 85. If we divide 85 by 3, gives us about 27. So if I mark 27 there, and then I want about 3 mil there, and about 3 mil there. So I've pulled my tool rest up. I just want to mark that, mark that, and mark that. That's better. So this will be plain wood, this will be plain wood, that'll be the bowl, and that gives me this band here to do what I'm going to try and do. So if I put a mark there as my starting point, I'll get this off and flip it round and see you in a minute. So I've got this in my poor man's carving jig, aka my legs. And what I'm going to do is, I'm going to take the measurement of this band. Wrong way, stupid. So that's there. I put a mark on here, which is there. So if I use that as my starting point, I hope you can see this. That's give me, can you see that? A semicircle there. And then I'm just going to use the pencil as reference, and then do the same again. And that for some reason hasn't worked. Never mind, we'll improvise. Yeah, I actually meant to do that, by the way, so I'd have a focal point. You can tell I'm talking crap now. So that's giving me that. I'm gonna go here. I can't be bothered to try and work out why that didn't work. I should have probably gone from centre, did a mark, and then gone out. Blah 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 blah. I'm gonna mark that on every one. Is this gonna be perfect? Is it F? But so now I've marked a dot in the middle of all them, and then I want a circle that's going to fit in between all of them. I'm spinning it round, and if this is painful for you to watch, imagine what it's doing to my brain. I do come up with some stupid ideas. Thank God for that. So now I've got a circle inside every one of them semicircles and a circle with a circle in there. I can't decide whether I like it. While I'm sorry for laughing, I'm just watching Saturday morning cartoons. While I'm watching this, I'm just going to start carving this bowl. You probably won't see much, but I'm going to speed it up anyway. So let's get started. I've got this on, I don't know what it's called. All I'm doing is basically putting a little divot in the middle of every one of them little circles. So that's what I've got so far. Then I'm going to try and get the same thing inside each one of these rounded triangles. I'm pretty happy with that. They're all similar depths. Wow. So I'll be doing this about 30 minutes and my hand's killing me. But that's what I've got so far. It's not going to be perfect because this is the first time I've ever done this. But it's coming along. Right, so that's where we've got to so far. I've got a free half hour. It's got a little lighter, little windproof lighter. And I want to burn these. I don't know if it's gonna. Oh, it's working. So that's what I'm getting. So that's what we've got so far. I like that. And then what I'm going to do is, I bought this from Aldi years ago. I think they're still selling. It's a wood burning set. It's basically just a soldering iron, I think, with different tips that you can put in. Comes with a stencil. And I'm going to be using this tip first. But with that one first. Then this one with triangle and a circle. And possibly another one. So I'm going to plug this in. You just screw these into end. I think it was less than 20 quid this, if I remember right. Plug this in, let it get hot, and do some more. Now this is definitely hot because it's changed colour. Excuse me. And I just want to, I'll just test it here. That's where it'll gears. Right, so put that there so it doesn't burn me. It's gone. Let's see. It's gone in deeper in some places than others, and obviously they're not all perfect in the spacings, but this is what we've got so far. And I do think a light sand on these ones that have gone a bit deeper, or maybe make them, I don't know, but I've got an idea for finishing anyway. I'll let that cool down, swap over to this other, let's see if it'll fit where I want it to. Maybe not. Maybe not. I maybe just might leave it at that. But I'll have a look at it and I'll come back when I've made a decision. So I'm going to put a bit more detail in it. I was going to do like triangles, but I've swapped over to this like sharp point tip. I'm just going to do a few details on here. I don't want it to get too busy, so I'll crack on. So I think that'll do for now. So I'll get this back on lathe and try and sand them pencil lines off. I'll give this a sand off with some 400. I've been watching a lot of resin casting. I find it relaxing for some reason. And a few classes on that I've been doing goth stuff, and it's been a lot, and it's been purple and black. So give me an idea. I'll put some links down to their channels in chat, so you can check them out if you're into that kind of thing. So I'm going to use Salisbury Crafts purple. Turn the lathe down. It's definitely purple. We'll give that time to dry. I'll come back. It's lost some of that burning detail, but I don't mind it. You can still see like it's got shadows around it. But that purple's definitely purple. I'm going to put some sanding sealer on. I'm going to put a detail line or two in. Some speed. And some more sanding sealer. Right, so that sanding sealer's gone off. I've got some gold embellishing wax from Hampshire Sheen. I'm just going to rub this in, try and get it in them details. I think that's got them all. It's about 1,000. I just want to buff that in. I'm not trying to remove it. Because that has gone in quite deep on some of these, I'm going to leave that to cure, probably overnight. We'll get this turned away. I'm going to call this one a fail, guys. I'll explain why. Yeah, I'm going to call this one a fail. The wax has not fully gone off, so it's pulled out here. See if I can get you in. The wax has pulled out of here. The dust has gone into the wax because I haven't let it go off properly. That needs to be recut. Got some tear out in this corner. Stupidly, I've moved my monitor shelf and I can't get the angle on that SCH3 tool to go around there. So what I think I'll do is I'll just save this bowl to keep turning front off. So I'll basically just turn this off and then use it to practice some more kind of texturing and colouring techniques on. So thank you for watching to end. I've learnt a lot from doing this. These details that I did with the burner, it needs to be deeper so it picks up more wax. But yeah, I could easily delete this video and make everybody think that everything I do is a success, or a success in my eyes, but that's not always the case. So as long as you learn something from your mistakes, then we're good. So thank you for watching. Peace.